Alright, you guys, welcome back to part 3 of this live stream series of how to become a pro web dev right now. Well, the fortunate thing is that I am already a professional web developer, so I'm here to show you. If you're not already a pro web dev, or maybe you're a novice and you feel like you wanna, listen to me for some reason, well, that's cool. Make sure, if you appreciate this content, to like and subscribe and leave a nice comment. So this is part 3, and I'm getting a little more into the groove here. So I've got my VS Code open. I've got Google ready to check my development server on. And in the previous couple sessions, the first session I just went over all the tools you need. Okay, so I see 2 of my extensions need a reload, so I have this little extension that put a little reload button right there. Alright, so I find that often GitHub Copilot wants a reload, and I use that all the time. So all we did was, well, let's actually first, the second live stream, we just made a little like basic web page. So the first live stream we set up our website. Second one we just delved into some really basic interactivity buttons. So we'll fire that up right now. And I'm going to move really fast, okay? I'm going to try to be understandable, but I know folks who, get impatient, and out of respect for your time, I'm going to move fast. So if you're having trouble following along, you can maybe slow down the audio or just pause it and just replay it, whatever works for you. So let's look at our little package.json. That stands for JavaScript Object Notation. If this were a JavaScript file, this would not be valid because JSON puts quotes around the keys. These first things, these green things, are called keys, and the orange parts are called the value. So this is a key value pair. So objects hold keys and key value pairs. Now this is a JavaScript object notation. This was created basically to make it easy to transfer data between not just JavaScript, not just web apps, but also other apps. So like backend could use Python or Go, or pretty much any language. What else is popular? PHP used to be popular back in the day. Ruby, etc., etc. So this little format was created to facilitate sending data back and forth. So that's just some little history for you. We're gonna run dev, or we're gonna spin up Vite, our dev servers. Okay, I'm on a Windows, so I'm gonna command click on this, and here is our beautiful website. I always like to have my console there. Failed to load a resource. I refresh. For some reason it's gone. Whenever you see stuff there, just refresh, just in case the server messed up. So we did little fun things like this. When you mouse over it, you change the color of that item. I forget what else. Click me. Oh, where's my alert? Oh, okay. Change it from, it used to show an alert to just, now it's changing the size of the font and the color of the font. So a little interactivity for you. Now, what I think is very important to go over now is Git. And I look over here, I see that I've made a lot of changes. So this is really cool. This is called your source control tab. 7 pending changes. If you click on them, it'll actually show you a working tree. I'm not sure what that's. Yeah, I've heard that terminology, but I think it's okay, if I hit plus, it's gonna put it into the staging area. So the working tree is over here, and it's all the unstaged changes. Okay, so it shows us that so red means we affected it and took out something. So we took out the syntax here that was for, we tried to use Tailwind CSS, but then we switched over to just vanilla because it was just being annoying. That's fine. It's setting things up and adding libraries and like configuring them is definitely an investment. So think carefully when you're doing that. We decided, or I decided, not to do it because vanilla CSS, it is, if you're not good with CSS, it is better to start with vanilla CSS. I was kind of fooling myself. So I'm going to throw these in the staging area. I'm just going to put them all. Now you might be like, hey, this is really lame. Why do you have to do them one by one? Well, you can go into the command line. Okay, I just added another terminal. Why did I do that? Well, I squished one. Okay. All right, this is my Vite running, and then this is, okay, I already had a window open. Okay, so what I can do is just do git add everything. The period means add everything in our working tree. Unstage changes, so I'm gonna go bam. Whoa. In the working copy. Okay, this has to do with stupid end lines, like returns. Like they're different in like I think Mac and Windows, so whatever. I'm fine with it. Just do your thing. Okay, so now we see that these guys are ready to change, and these is really flexible because let's say you're still working on this file, right? Main.js, and you're like, whoa, I'm not ready. Whoa, where'd it go? There it is. Whoa, I'm not ready. I'm still working on it. Well, that's cool. Well, let's just submit these guys then. Okay, so now of course to be organized, you're gonna give a commit message. So you're gonna be like, I don't know. Often you'll say like fixed. You'll want to say fixed a bug, right? But you should say, I mean, this is the convention amongst a lot of programmers. Just say fix bug. Well, I guess that makes sense because you're writing a lot less over the long term. Okay, so let's just pretend we fixed a bug with these changes. We hit commit. And that's it. It's committed. Now, why didn't it publish? Well, I don't think... Sorry, that was my phone. So this is our gitignore file. This .gitignore file, the dot means it's like you're probably rarely gonna touch it, but we do want to touch it sometimes. So basically, this is quite a complex gitignore file. It's telling Git not to track these things because we don't care about them. So the dist is our distributed, our build that holds the built app. And in order to, duplicate this repo somewhere else, we don't need these. We can install them. Okay, so that's why we're ignoring them. It just makes it a lot more efficient for Git to just keep track of what it needs to. Now, I'm gonna become a web dev now. I'm gonna go to Google and I'll show you my GitHub. Because you certainly need a GitHub account. So I'm logged in already. I just wanted to check if become a web dev now. Okay, so it is published. Okay, so I'll just click on it. And I made it public, so actually you guys can download this and I'll show you how right now. Add a readme, I'll do that later. Just want to look at the history. One commit 5 days ago. Okay, so I did do a first commit. Okay, great. Now what I was puzzled about was why... Oh, okay, I guess my Mac is set up differently from... This is my home computer. So you see how there's like a 1 over here and an up arrow? That means you have a commit waiting to be, you're going to push it from your computer to the origin/main, which is GitHub. If you see a 1 over here with the arrow pointing down, that means you need to pull some changes down onto your local computer. because somebody else pushed a commit up to that repo. So you've got to pull and push. Okay, so we're gonna just hit that. Thank you, VS Code. All right, so now it is going to show. Let me refresh. There we go, 2 commits, and there it is, fix bug. And you can actually click on it, and it'll do the same thing. It'll show you the differences, and you can go to your various files. Now I do this sometimes. You might say, well, VS Code's fine. Why would I do it here? Because let's say you're looking at your code or a different file, and it's just convenient to have this on another monitor or something. Or yeah, do a quick check. Very useful stuff. So GitHub, pro tip, get good at this. So there are a couple stages. Now, why would you, invest your valuable time becoming like a Git ninja? Well, you don't have to be a ninja, but you got to be a Git pro. It'll make your life easy, much easier. Well, it's because this is how you, first of all, back up your company's projects, and yeah, you can review other people's code and then approve it so that it can be merged into the code base. Yeah, so it keeps a great backup. It's really great at keeping backups, and it's very facilitates many people working on the same code base. Okay, so go ahead, and if you haven't, create your profile. You can actually come over here and grab this lovely website by going over here. Oops, code. And you might not see this button on yours. I think I have like a Chrome extension. I totally forget what that does though. And what I like to do is just clone. Okay, so I'll grab this. Now these I won't explain right now. I'll just do it easy. Now you could download a zip, but that's kind of noobish. No offense. So I'm gonna go over to my command line terminal. I'm on CMDR from Windows. Go ahead and Google it if you don't have it. It's awesome. And I will go to my playground. Do I have a playground? Yes. Okay, CD for change directory, and I'm just gonna write git clone. If you haven't installed Git, make sure you install Git. And I'm going to paste that thing. Now you don't have to give it a name, in which case it'll just name it this. But let me just make sure. Yeah, you just add it at the end with no quotations. So where was I? Let's just call this dummy copy. Boom. Okay, yeah, so it's cloning it to dummy copy because I'm just gonna delete it when I find it. So I'm gonna CD into DU. I'm gonna hit tab, boom. It auto-completes for me intelligently, and then we will go ahead and just list everything. I'm gonna open it actually. So I got my VS Code shortcut set up. If you don't have it set up, just Google how to start VS Code from my command line interface or from my terminal. I'm gonna close CMD because when that's open, VS Code likes to pop over to that window, and I want to use the built-in terminal down here. And you'll notice that there's no node modules folder. Why is that? It's because no dist either. So we must have built the app. I think in a previous stream. Well, you see that multiple files are missing, and So all we have to do is go npm install, or for short, npmi. So that's the node package manager, and the node package manager is going to peep in here and it's going to say, okay, you've got Vite. Okay, let me install Vite for you and all its dependencies, which are all these guys, and there's Vite itself. So Vite and all its sub-dependencies are downloaded from the internet and stored in node modules. So now you're all good to go. Oops. Okay. And you can actually now run your site. I'm going to control click right here. And localhost, this is 5174. Other one is on 5173. So Vite intelligently just adds 1 to this number. Now you might be asking, why 5173? Well, every framework or whatever will give you like a different one, so it's legal to use, I think, up to 9999, I guess. But some of them are reserved, so these guys kind of tend to, like Vite is giving you 5173. Someone said that looks like SITE, like website or something. But yeah, if you use React, I think it'll be like different. Like 8080 is one I hear a lot. I don't know, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. Great. So that showed you how to download dummy copy. Or I'm sorry, why did I say dummy copy? But your own copy of my website. Exactly. You know how it is right now with the second commit committed. Okay, now let's say that you downloaded it and then I came and made changes on here and I pushed them. Oh, okay. First of all, I have to give you permission to push your changes up to my repo, but I'm not going to do that now. But if you're working on an open source project, you would do that. You would make changes and then you would push them, commit them, just like I do. Now, of course, there's this thing called a pull request. So what's a pull request? Well, that's when you want to propose changes, I guess you could say. So you're requesting that somebody, or if you have, of course, merge rights without reviews, then you could push it straight to the repo, straight to the main branch. It used to be called master, but nowadays they're calling it main branch because, master could have negative connotations, I guess. So the mother branch, the real deal branch, is called main or master. And basically, since it's my repo, I can push up to, main whenever I want, and it'll just go. So if you're in a company, almost always there will be like a place to add reviewers. So I'll just show you real quick. I think if it lets me. Okay, I'm gonna make a pull request. Okay, yeah, let's do some Git. Okay, so I'm gonna create a branch. Okay, so this is really important to know. So I'm gonna say Git. What is it? Check out. So not only am I gonna create it, but I'm gonna switch into it. So I'm just gonna call it my first branch. There's no quotation marks, and typically we use a lot of hyphens for some reason. So whatever domain you're in, you gotta follow the convention. So if we're in JavaScript, it's not gonna be hyphens. It's gonna be my capital first, capital branch, right? If you're doing CSS, it's probably going to be hyphenated, so you got to just remember and yeah, commit it to memory. Okay, so the -b flag says create a new branch. So create a new branch, name my first branch, and check it out. Boom. So we can see now that we are in my first branch, and that's really nice that they show us that. They also show it to us here. Okay, that's great. Now, what's very interesting is that I can do whatever I want on this branch. I wonder why it didn't ask me to check this, stash this. Okay, well, usually any changes, if you have any changes here, it'll say, hey, you got to do something with these changes before you switch to a new branch, but I guess in this case it happened to be all right. I'll show you, let's see. Let's just add some random, like a small heading. Okay, and then let's try to switch back to our main. Okay, check out the main branch. Whoa. Okay, sorry, I'm just surprised because at work, my work setup, it'll be like, hey, you made changes, you gotta stash them. So I'll just show you. When that happens, you do git stash. And it's gonna just store those changes in like a sort of memory bank. So actually you can see. So, okay, how to get cracking. Okay, git stash lists. So often you'll have to Google stuff like that until you've memorized it. So it threw into stash at the 0 index work in progress. Okay, so I didn't name it, right? So I just named it work in progress on main. It shows you the commit hash. That's like a very unique identifier for each commit. Work in progress. Okay, fix bug. I guess that's the last commit. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's cool. So now we can say, now to just get the very last thing on the list that you put, you can do git stash pop and it'll restore them. Okay, so it's like a little shelf that you can throw your changes in real quickly. So normally I was expecting that it would say something and I'll have to go git stash and then git check out my first branch, but it's not doing that for some reason. I have no idea why, but now I can show you that the way that if it did complain to you, hey, you've got changes over here, maybe I'll stage them. Maybe that will trigger it. This gotta trigger it. What? That's weird. Doesn't care. Okay, well, that's fine. Maybe there's a difference between Mac and Windows. So just keep that in mind that this is a little strange for me, and I'm not sure how it will be for you, but now you know how to deal with both ways. Okay, so now we're in the branch. Now I'm gonna remember to use that present tense. I'm gonna commit that. And then, oh, okay, yeah, here we go. Now I want to publish the branch. Yep, I'm going to let my repo up in GitHub know that I created a branch. So we do get a nice request to create a pull request here, but I'm going to jump into GitHub to show you how to do it there, because that's a sort of the logical way to do it. So you're going to see this pop-up, compare and pull request, my first branch. Okay, if you don't see it, you can go to, let's see. So this is where all your pull requests go. Oh, okay, it would go here. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, well anyway, it's nice and accessible here. We'll just say compare and pull request. Create a new PR by comparing changes across 2 branches. Okay, so we are comparing my first branch to main, and because I own this repo, I can just merge them. Otherwise, you know, in your company, you'd probably have to add a reviewer right here. They'll review it, they'll give you approval, and then you can go ahead and merge it, or maybe someone else will merge it. So, just teaching pro web dev over here. and then we'll go ahead and create our pull request. Now, why am I doing this? Because it's so important, and they don't teach you this a lot in, you know, the little boot camps and stuff, or whatever YouTube tutorials. I think comprehensive boot camps will obviously go deep into this, but you should start doing this very, very early in your career, just so you're really comfortable with how the modern, you know, repos, code bases are managed and changed and grown. So we get this merge pull request again because this is my repo. I don't need a reviewer, and I just go boom, and then I go boom. Pull request successfully merged and closed. So all those changes that we made, which in this case was over here, and if you want, we can go over here. Okay, let's go to our main branch first. That makes sense, because we want to see if it's over there. If it's there, we are okay. So it's not there. So okay, I had to refresh it. Synchronize changes. Yeah, it's so interesting. My VS Code at work and here, they act pretty different. Now, if you're, you know, a tidy person, then, you know, if you're doing no more work in your branch, then go ahead and delete it. See, it's safe. You can restore it if you want. Git is, the beauty of Git is if you use the system, you feel very secure making changes. So almost everything can be like reverted, right? Let's say I didn't like that change. I want to revert. Let's try it. Okay, create a new pull request. Yeah, sure. Let's try it. Reverts make. Okay, now you'd be like, well, why didn't it just reverse it? Well, it's good to actually have a record of your reversal. So that's why it may seem counterintuitive, but it's actually very good. Now, there are ways I think that we could have just reversed. We could have made it so that we don't have this record of reverting and just rewinded in history our main branch, but I won't go over that now, but just know that it is possible to do that. Okay, let's see if this reverts. It will. It's just handling it for us. That's really cool. Again, we'll just tidy up after ourselves and delete the branch. And it just knew what the changes were. That's why we didn't have to delete it and be like, hey, this is what I want. Okay, now VS Code's being smart. Now it's saying sync to changes. Okay, sure. Okay, see, so it did that. Oh, okay, so the merge went and then the revert. Okay, it just took a little while. Awesome, because yeah, you'll usually see like when your branch or whatever is out of date, or your local copy of your repo is out of date, usually it'll show you like a number here or there, and it's good to always be refreshed and updated. Okay, so let's go back to our home page of the web page of the website, and no branches, right? Active at least. So we can say, not stale, all branches. Oh, well, they really deleted them. Okay, so stale means like, I guess, maybe it had, you know, it's just old and it might have to download a whole bunch of changes from the main branch. Active is stuff you're working on, etc., etc. Okie dokie, and that's all we'll do for Git now. The next thing that I wanted to do was just make another page. Okay, so we're gonna go I'll just use hyphens. I don't know what It's typical for these. Okay, so I'm gonna hit the shift exclamation mark and hit tab. Provides me with the boilerplate for a web page. Okay, so how are we going to get to this web page? Well, we should be able to go. Oh, I think I spilled too much barbecue sauce on my keyboard. That key's dead. Okay, my first page. Ew. Do not want to do that. Okay, I think I just had to add the HTML. Let's do a little something so we could see it. Yeah. Okay, so actually, if it's in the URL, it is gonna look for it and load it. But you know, if everyone's only gonna come to your home page, right? So let's just create our first anchor link. Whoa, did not mean to do that. By the way, if you like this theme, let me look for it. I'm gonna go Control P. No, Control Shift P is like your. This is a great thing to use. So you use it a lot. Control Shift P or Option Shift P on a Mac. And I'm gonna look up my settings. You can type you can type anything in here and it just shows you all the most relevant stuff. So this might scare you a little bit because yours might be empty, but basically, again, it's in JavaScript object notation. I customized my VS Code extensively, as you can see. So I'm using Synthwave 84. You can go ahead and download that. Oops. In your extensions, just type in Synthwave 84. It's by Rob Owen. I just really like it. I customized a couple of the colors, so this I made it really nice and bright because it was really dim before. And right here is how I did it. I Googled this, so just have at it, you know, just Google away. This one was actually kind of hard to Google. It took quite a bit of Googling. Workbench.color customizations is the key. And I just changed these values. See, scroll bar slider dot background. I made it this really bright color that was easy on my eyeballs because you want everything to be easy on your eyeballs when you're coding because you're looking at a screen so much. Then I just changed the hover color here and stuff like that. Active background, I don't even know what that is. Tab, active border, yep, so I changed this little guy here. And I changed the background because, man, I could not tell the difference. So I made this really bright. And it's so annoying when you can't see what tab you're on up here. It's really, really annoying because you do it all the time. So I was so pissed off that I just was like, let me just customize it because I love this theme. 95% of it I love. And you can do a whole bunch of things in here. I'm not going to explain all this stuff, but chances are as you keep working in here, and here's where I told the integrated terminal, this guy, it's our integrated terminal, that I want to use cmdir. Okay, and then here you can configure your default. So this stuff, where is it? Down here, added cmdir into this menu. And then I made it my default. So whenever I go boom, it opens up cmdir. Okay. Now I think we're down to the last 10-15 minutes of this live stream. I'm trying to keep them short and punchy. Let's go ahead and jam out of that. I'm not sure why I was there, but let's make sure to link back to our page by just saying go home. Now every anchor tag element has an href attribute that you can add, and I believe we'll just give it a relative path. Okay, so relative and absolute. Relative means relative to you, so we are my first page.html. And to access a sibling, we can use this just like dot slash. That means just look in the same directory as you are. Let's say that, index.html was in a folder, in the source folder, then we just do, okay, go drill into the source folder, and then find, locate index.html. Or if it was in the JS folder, then you'd say drill into source, then JS, and there's going to be index.html. To hop up, you do something like this. Okay, so let's say my first page.html was way down in this JS folder, then we'd have to pop up 2 levels to access index.html. So that's a little primer on relative and absolute paths. We call them paths. Okay, so you just show the anchor where this anchor should take the user. So we'll do the same for this guy. We'll just add a little href. I forget what that stands for. Now remember, it's a sibling, so we're gonna go, ooh, nice autocomplete. There we go. All right, now Veet should have picked up on that. It sure did, and we go boom, boom. All right, and you can see the URL changes to reflect that path. Perfect. That's pretty simple, right? But here's the trick, you guys. Here's the trick. With that simple concept, the world knowledge banks were unleashed upon us. So use that. What's the next thing that you might say? Okay, well, I'm gonna create a blog, so I'm gonna have a whole bunch of new pages for my blog and all that. And so you start building it, right? Let's say you have 10 pages, but then now you have to start asking yourself, well, is that scalable? Let's say I had 1,000 pages. Everything's in my root? No way. So the first thing you could do is, why not just create a new folder, right? And just say, let's just call it pages for now. Just not limit ourselves to blogs. Okay, now remember that we do then have to drill in to pages. Okay, and vice versa. We gotta jump up. Okay, so yep, that's working just fine. Things like that are very important. So you gotta think, well, is it gonna scale up? Is this architectural decision that I'm making right now gonna cause me a ton of pain or lack of an architectural decision? So here's a little strategy, right? Okay, pages. Now, another thing that we might say is, well, I want a menu bar. Like, this webpage sucks. Where's my menu bar? And typically, we'll just follow convention and make it up here, right? And that starts to immediately, let's just say we created a nav bar. So let's get rid of this weird app div. Okay, I'll explain what that is later, but a lot of new web pages use just an empty. Okay, we're using Emmet abbreviation here. If you don't know what that is, just Google it, and it's so useful because I just wrote this entire chunk of HTML by just going like this. And VS Code knows Emmet, so I hit tab and boom, there you go. It's a great time saver. You might see this, and there's no other content on what's called a single page application. And a lot of modern websites use this technique. JavaScript actually locks in on this and dynamically creates your entire web page from JavaScript. So here's the trip. Okay, we'll end with this on this stream. All these tags you see here can be hooked into or connected. We can connect them into JavaScript and like do whatever we want with them. So that's the tremendous power of these three technologies. They sort of master their own domain. So the domain of HTML is, what is the domain of HTML? Well, JavaScript can do it all, so that's not a good example, but CSS for sure, you need it for the visual styling and appearance. But let's go ahead and take a look at main.js, which is hooked up to index.html, as you can see right here. This connects main.js to this. It literally loads the JavaScript when this .html loads. Now the reason it's hovering down here by the end of the body tag is because you actually want your DOM elements, these are called, your HTML elements, your tags, you actually want them to load before your JavaScript so that your JavaScript can actually, when it calls out to these elements, they're actually already like instantiated, loaded, and loaded. I'm not sure about display, but they're definitely loaded. So we can use let's give, that has an ID of app. There is one called get element by ID. What's the ID? App, right? So we're gonna grab that. And I don't know if I want inner HTML or inner text. I'll just do inner text first, that's easier. Okay, so we got a handle. Okay, sorry, I'm moving too fast. I'm gonna say const my app, we'll just give it a name. Document I get element by ID of app. So give me the HTML element with an ID of app and store it in my app. So my app is literally a reference to this div. And now we can do really cool things through the APIs provided to us. APIs just means like pre-written functions and methods and provided to us, so we can say, or we can reference the inner text. So this is actually a property, not a method. Method and function are synonyms, but you use them differently in different, how do you say, like functions are just everywhere, and then methods are the functions located in say an object. Okay, so we'll just say, wow, I can change HTML element properties. Properties and attributes are also synonyms. And I'm just gonna hit Alt Z so it wraps around nicely with JS. Okay, so remember that this is just gonna run. So when we check our page, it's gonna have this text in our div already. So let's check it out. Bam. Of course, probably you're expecting click button. Okay, I deleted the logic. That's weird. Okay, I don't even know where I deleted that logic. If I'm not mistaken, what happened to my mouse over? What branch am I in? Main? Uh-oh. I think I reverted. Oh, okay, I reverted a lot. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, let's just pretend that I reverted something really, like that button. All the interactions I had before were really important, so I can go to... Where are my commits? Here we go, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna go back. So we can grab this commit. And just wanted to copy the commit thingy. Oh, oops. Grab it right here. Copy the full SHA. And I'm gonna go back here. And I'm gonna say, sorry, I have to Google this. Because I rarely do this when I'm in work. This is like disaster zone area, so. But I wanted to show you because I want to show you, hey, it's not that scary. And what I can do is go ahead and stash these changes, remember? Oh, I'm working on my main branch, that's bad practice. Whatever, it's my repo. Okay, so I'm gonna stash all these changes. They're saved, they're safe. Why aren't you stashed? Because you're a new file. Let's see. Okay, well I guess it's just gonna hover there. I'm gonna go to git that was not helpful. How do I, okay, here we go. Undo. That's really not helpful. Okay, you know what, guys and girls? I'm gonna go to ChatGPT and okay, we don't need ChatGPT 4 for this. Okay, so I'm a paid subscriber to this. I really love this stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna say, how do I go back to a previous commit? Git reset is probably the one we want. No, I don't want to. Git, okay, if you want to discard, okay, so we're gonna go pretty harsh and like discard a lot of stuff. Namely speaking, now I'm being kind of, you know, careful because I want to definitely get rid of that. Merge pull request. Okay, so we're gonna go here. I was wrong. No, I did. I think I did get that one right. If I said this one I was wrong, I want to go to here because this code change I'm happy with. Yeah. And actually, let's make sure what the heck happened back here. So reverted that, and then, oops. I'm confused because this is definitely where it deleted all that stuff we had, which I want to restore now. But why do these look identical? Okay, I guess this is the commit and this was the merge. Okay, whatever. The important thing is that we know what's going on, and we know that these are two we don't like, and we want to go back to this guy. So, ChatGPT told us git reset double hyphen hard commit hash. Okay. Hard means those changes are going bye-bye. Here's my hash. Boom. Okay. Yep, this change is just hovering because it's a new untracked file. That's great. And our main code is back. Yeah, perfect. Now I'm gonna go ahead and git stash pop. Remember those changes I made before? Ooh, this is good. This is good for us to encounter. Now what's happening? Well, what's happening is we were editing the same file. So I was editing, what is this? Index.html, and it's like confused now. It's like, what do you want? Well, I can actually look and say accept both changes. Oh, this is a case where I want to accept both changes, because I put this funny little guy here, and I put an anchor tag here. Let's just, usually I pick either this current change or the incoming one. Rarely, I've never accepted both changes. Let's just give it a shot because I do want both changes. Okay. So, ooh, that was not good. Yeah, that was not good. See, it doubled up. You cannot have two IDs, by the way. You're not supposed to. So. Let's just get rid of these duplicate stuffs. Oops. I'm in this weird state, resolve in merge editor. Okay. Oh, it did it here correctly. That's weird. Oh shoot, complete with conflicts? No. I don't want conflicts, man. Okay. Here's the other one. Okay, I think it's fine. Index.html is what we were working on. And it's got the H3 and the anchor tag. Okay. I'm not sure what I did there, but now we can go ahead and deal with this other main.js file, which also has problems. So I'm not gonna click up here. It's very tempting to, but it's easier to do it in here, I believe. Accept stash changes, accept combination. I would like to accept the combination. Okay. Let's see if that was correctamundo. Yeah. A little out of order, but really, traditionally the imports go way up here. Didn't do a half bad job, if I may say so. All right, perfect. Now why are these guys doubled up? I'm not sure why there were two index.htmls and one in stage change and one in regular changes. Working tree. Wow, weird. Okay, let's just double check that our index.html looks good. Got the H3. Of course, we got to check our server, make sure nothing has gone awry. What's our server number? Okay, I'm being messy. That was for the other dummy app. Oh, cannot read properties of null. Okay, good thing we checked, right? Because you gotta check the actual thing running. You can click on here and it'll tell you what's going on. h1 dot add event listener. Const h1 equals document dot query selector. Let's just, sometimes it's best to just restart your server instead of bashing your head in and trying to figure out something, because Vite, surprisingly, is, you just learn that it gets confused a lot. It's weird, you see that flash of content? That tells me something. Control B to hide this guy, I don't need it right now. And I use this split screen view all the time. Sometimes I have like, I have this ultra wide, so sometimes I'll have like 4 or 5, just to, because I need to see them. It's more convenient to see them all side by side. So, uncut type, or cannot read properties of null. Let me think here. It's telling me that this h1, alright, I'm just gonna use a console log. Quick and easy. Oh, it's telling me that this h1 is null. So that's weird because it's down here and the h1. Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. Okay, sorry. If you'll notice here that the change where I added the div ID app at the top was not preserved, and as it was originally, the div was wrapping the entire thingy here, because I'm so used to, well, it is kind of logical to, you know, it's a wrapper div, like a div acting as a big holder, but that's not how I had it. Okay, so now you'll see it, yeah. That's why it flashed and then disappeared, because it did have this content at the beginning, but then the JavaScript was like, oh, you want the inner text of this guy to be this, so, you know, it deleted everything and popped this in. Okay, so everything is working just like we want it. Okay, so we'll conclude this live stream right here. If this was helpful to you, I'm happy to make them. You know, when I was aspiring to become a web dev, you know, I was studying design and development of digital games over at Columbia University. It's a master's program. This is my second career. So it was at the Teachers College, which is the School of Education at Columbia University. And don't think I'm some hotshot. It was actually pretty high acceptance rate. The big problem with that program, which had many, many strengths, was that it did not teach you enough technical skills, the development side. Teachers College natural strengths were in other areas, and unfortunately the technical side didn't have enough you know, years in the industry and years coding. So what was the point of that? The point of that is to tell you that I had to learn on my own a lot of the skills that I thought a professional web developer would need. And it turns out that I should have done things, I could have, yeah, it would have been better to do things differently. And so this approach, where you're literally creating an app from scratch, who cares if it's very, you know, exploratory and stuff like that, you know, as famous painters or illustrators, they say your first, 1,000 paintings will be garbage, or 10,000 paintings, whoever knows. But the concept is that if you just play around with this stuff and make stuff, then you're gonna have like a really great foundation on which to jump off of and launch your professional web dev career. So that's why the first thing we did was dive into creating this app, dive into VS Code, dive into modern technologies like Vite and Node and NPM, and why we just dove into doing really crude and, beginnery stuff here, because if you've never done it before, you got to do it. But we've covered, trust me, a lot of stuff that I use every day, like at Event Listener. We use that so much, writing these little callback functions. A callback function means they're just waiting for you to call them. So when you mouse over that H1, this guy triggers and calls the callback function, and then it runs. So, JavaScript is a functions as first-class citizen language, so functions are really prominent in JavaScript, and you can pass them around, you can do all sorts of magic with them, all sorts of different things with them. We talked about the relationship between HTML and JavaScript and how you can grab these things and manipulate them and even do, everything in here like single page applications do. If you heard of React, that's a single page application framework. Although, there are some performance implications there where React, they're using it kind of more on the back end, more on the server side. This is client side, front end. So just remember that the single page application is not the be all end all, that people who have to run very performant applications may want to look at a different style of web app to get that performance that they need to give them, like a business advantage. I think the next thing that we're going to do is some more CSS. But I think that what we're going to do is actually turn this into a very basic vanilla JS personal website. Okay, it's not going to be something, incredible. It's just going to be something to say, hey, I have a personal website, and maybe it will be nice looking, and maybe, you will use it on your interview, or, when you apply for interviews and apply for jobs and stuff. Okay, so trust me, we're going to go all the way. We're going to deploy it on, let's put it on GitHub Pages. Yeah. So this is great. It's free for, static websites. Really, static websites is just a term that means like not super fancy functionality in it. Not like, I guess, media heavy. It's just going to be a very simple personal website. And usually those are really using basic technologies. You can host it in GitHub, and the beauty of this is not that old, I don't think. It looks at your repo, and when you literally just push a change, you merge a change into the code base, the actual website will refresh for you. So it cuts out a whole annoying step of deployment that was not like the way it was in the past. So you're going to love this. You're just going to push your changes from VS Code, and voila, it's going to show up on GitHub Pages. All right, so I'll leave you with that. Take care, leave a comment if this helped you, or if you feel like, I'm doing something that could, be changed so that I can help you learn better. Let me know what's good, what's bad. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell your friends about me if they want to become a pro web dev so I can keep going and, make this like a nice 10-part series. And then the ultimate plan also is to turn these into very polished videos. So this is a rough live stream, you can consider it. So just keep that in mind. And something more polished is definitely in the works, especially as the subscriber base, as the subscribers, rise and more demand for that sort of content comes. But until then, I'm out. Peace. If I can find my OBS, where are you at?